Hello, College of the Desert students. Wendy Ansley here, kinesiology professor. I'm excited to share with you this flow. The theme is the journey to bird of paradise. Bird of paradise in Sanskrit means Svarga Dvijasana. The props that we're going to need are going to be 2 blocks, maybe a strap, and a wall space. This is an advanced posture. We're going to explore a lot of drills to get there, but the wall is there to help us provide support, to build upon awareness, to build upon a strength, help us explore dimensions of this pose and also promote safety. But the wall there is also for someone who has this pose, but also it allows us to explore it at a little deeper level. Diving into bird of paradise, Svarga in Sanskrit means the heavenly world, paradise. Dvija means twice born. And asana symbolizes the posture. Svarga Dvijasana. While studying this pose, it can lead us to so many benefits, right? Opening up the hamstrings, the groin, the hips, the chest, the shoulders, building upon strength and stability in the standing leg, building upon strength, stability, connection in the posture. The all over kind of everything pose. But diving in as well, it leads to, when we explore this pose, it leads to freedom, internal bliss, and a spiritual awakening. So I'm excited to share this flow with you. We're going to start in a wide-legged child's pose. With that, our big toes are touching. We're widening those knees. We're walking those hands forward. The hands are about shoulder width apart, arms long and parallel. And the goal is to try to create length in the spine. Send those hips back and rest the forehead to the mat. Let's connect with our breath here. Inhale and exhale through the nose, calming the mind. Centering ourselves, getting ready for a beautiful practice. I like to visualize my spine lengthening, creating space between the vertebrae. I'm going to walk the hands over towards the right, and they're still about shoulder width apart, just to get my spine moving a little bit laterally. And walk the hands over to the left again, just to kind of move that spine laterally. Trying to get the chest and the forehead towards the mat as I inhale and exhale through the nose. Calming the mind. Walking the hands back in the middle and kind of sending those hips towards those heels, creating length. Chest and forehead to the mat. Breathe deep. Coming to a cat and cow pose to touch on spinal mobility here. So I have the hands under the shoulders, the knees under those hips. Sometimes I kind of alternate. I like to kind of tuck my toes and even press into the tops of the feet. This is really as I explore the spinal mobility and connect to the breath here. So I like to kind of tuck those toes, gently lower the belly, shine that heart forward, shoulder blades come towards the spine. Inhale, gaze up. On the exhale, push away, round the spine, draw that tailbone under, shoulder blades move away from the spine. The chin is tucked, good. Tuck those toes, gently lower the belly. Inhale, gaze up. The spine moves inward. Exhale, push into the tops of the feet and the palms. Exaggerate the rounding of the spine. The tailbone comes under. Tuck those toes, gently lower the belly. Inhale, gaze up. Exhale, exaggerate the pushing into the tops of the feet here, pushing into those palms, round the spine, and again, tuck those toes. Inhale, gaze up, shoulder blades towards the spine, tailbone lifted. Exhale, exaggerate that rounding of the spine. Come into a neutral tabletop here. Let's tuck those toes, walk those hands forward a few inches. I like to make sure that the fingers are spread, the middle finger in line with the shoulders, like the second and the third finger make like a peace sign here. Send those hips back. Here we are in downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Maybe do a little dynamic where we take those hips side to side. Hands are shoulder width apart, feet are hip width apart. Come into a static hold here as we press into those palms. Draw length in the spine. Connect here with the breath here. On the exhale, think about lowering those heels just a bit closer to the ground as we release those hamstrings. We're going to explore a little dynamic plank rolls. So on the inhale, we draw that belly in and the shoulders come over the wrist. In the plank, the gaze is forward and down. With the exhale, we're sending that tailbone back, sending those hips back. Downward facing dog, pause for breath. On the inhale, draw that tailbone under, navel towards the spine, shoulders over the wrist. Exhale, send those hips back. On the inhale, we come into this plank roll, draw the shoulders over the wrists, good. Exhale, send those hips back. One more time, draw that tailbone under, navel towards the spine, shoulders over the wrist, pause for breath. Core awakening here, draw that navel in, dome that upper back, head in line with the spine. We'll stay here several breaths. Gently lower the knees. Let's take a Prasarita Balasana, a wide-legged child's pose. Big toes touching, widen those knees. Walk those hands forward. And here we are lengthening the spine but centering ourselves. We'll stay here several breaths, calming the body, the mind, the spirit. Come back to the tabletop pose. Hands under the wrists, knees under those hips. Tuck those toes, tailbone lifted, gently lower the belly, shine that heart, inhale, gaze up. Exhale, exaggerate the rounding of the spine, the tailbone comes under. Chin towards the chest. Tuck those toes, big inhale as we gaze up, spine comes inward. Exhale, exaggerate that rounding of the spine, the tailbone comes under. Good. Tuck those toes, gently lower the belly, inhale, gaze up. Exhale, exaggerate, the spine comes outward. Tuck those toes, gently lower the belly, inhale, gaze up. Exhale, exaggerate that rounding of the spine. Come into that neutral tabletop. Let's tuck those toes, walk those hands forward a few inches. Spread those fingers. Engage the core as we send those hips back. Maybe do a little dynamic before we settle into downward facing dog. As we, on the inhale, I like to press to those palms and draw length in the spine. Sending that pelvis back and up. On the exhale, that connection of the release from the hamstrings and the calves towards the ground. Some plank rolls again. Draw that navel in, tailbone comes under, shoulders over the wrists. Core strength. Exhale, send those hips back. Draw that tailbone under, navel towards the spine, shoulders over the wrists, dome that upper back. Exhale, send those hips back, down dog. Draw that navel in, shoulders over the wrists, plank. Exhale, send those hips back. One more plank roll. Draw that navel in, shoulders over the wrists. We'll stay here several breaths. Core strength. Draw that navel in, tailbone under. It's okay to have the hips lightly lifted, dome that upper back. Connecting the core is so valuable in so many of our postures. Send those hips back, Adho Mukha, down dog. Press into those palms. I like to press in the inner edges of the hands, wrap those triceps behind and firm those thighs. Preparing for Anjaneyasana, low lunge. The feet are coming together here in down dog, lowering the heels now closer towards the ground. Inhale, we're drawing that left leg up to about hip height. Back leg straight and engaged. On the exhale, round the back, draw the left knee, the chest, and the nose. Place the left foot next to the left hand. We'll do a few dynamics. Rock forward and back. Big inhale, draw those arms up. Anjaneyasana. Press to the top of the back foot, root to the four corners of the front foot. On the exhale, feel a release of the back hip. A beautiful posture to warm us up and prepare us for our practice. Gently lower those hands to those hips. On the inhale, come up a little more vertical. We're going to open up the hips and explore Anjaneyasana, where the left foot's now at 45 degrees. Draw that heel in. The knee tracks over the toes. On the exhale, we sink lower. So it's almost like a half squat and a lunge at the same time. Beautiful. Let's connect with the breath. Inhale and exhale through the nose. Opening that front hip, releasing the back hip flexors. Gently come back center. Let's straighten that left foot, hands to the heart. On the exhale, sinking lower into beautiful Anjaneyasana. Let's connect with the breath here. On the inhale, feel the chest expand. On the exhale, feel that release of the back hip. Connecting again to the journey today of freedom, bliss, and spiritual awakening. Hands to those hips. Here we are, runner's pose, back leg straight and engaged as we frame the feet. Press into the palms, find your way into downward facing dog. Let's do a cleansing breath here. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Feet come together in Adho Mukha as we prepare for that low lunge on the right side. On the exhale, let's connect with firming those thighs and lowering those heels a little closer towards the ground. Inhale, draw that right leg up to about hip height, right leg straight and engaged, toes pointed down. On the exhale, round that upper back, place that right foot next to the right hand, hands to those hips. A few dynamics as we warm up and find our stillness. Inhale, Anjaneyasana, good. Front ankle directly stacked under that back knee. I like to press through the top of the back foot, root through the four corners of the front foot. Draw length in the sides of the torso, good. Energy out the fingertips. Center yourself and inhale, exhale through the nose. Gently draw those hands to the hips. Come up a little more vertical. This is where we're going to turn that right foot out 45 degrees. On the exhale, the knee tracks over the toe. So we're kind of opening that right hip. It's like a half squat here. Releasing the back hip. Center yourself with the breath as we are continuing to warm up and prepare for our practice. Gently come back up, hands by the heart. On the exhale, we're sinking lower, Anjaneyasana. As the hands are by the heart, connect with the breath. You can feel the prana rise as the chest expands on the inhale, coming out the crown of the head. On the exhale, the prana coming back down the spine. Gently release, hands to those hips, frame the foot. Runner's pose, back leg is straight and engaged. Firm that right hip, level the shoulders. On the exhale, press into those palms. Here we are, downward facing dog. Feet are hip width apart here. Press into those palms. Draw length in the spine and send those hips back and up. We're going to add a vinyasa, can always be modified. On the inhale, Phalakasana, plank, high plank. You can gently lower the knees if you want to do modified chaturanga. Bend those elbows. We draw the sternum and chest forward. Try to keep the shoulders in line with those elbows. Legs engaged, shoulders engaged, chest engaged, core engaged. Inhale, press to the tops of the feet, upward facing dog. Draw that pelvis forward. Broaden the collarbones. Knees and thighs off the mat, gaze up. Exhale, come over the tops of the feet, downward facing dog. Just kind of center yourself with the breath here as we breathe deep. So many muscles to release in the downward facing dog. A chance to almost reset, regenerate. We're going to gently lower to the knees. We're going to explore opening up our shoulders. So for many of us, we're just going to sit back on those heels. We call this thunderbolt pose. If that's a little uncomfortable, you can come into a seated posture as we release those shoulders. Or we can widen the knees a little bit and widen those legs and simply kind of sit on a block if that helps as well. You choose. Svarga Dvijasana is a standing balancing posture, but it also has a bind. Because of that bind component, we really want to open up the shoulders. We want to really warm up the body to be prepared to explore this. On the inhale, we're going to draw that left arm up for Gomukhasana arms. On the exhale, we're guiding the fingertips down the spine. We're clasping that left elbow. Connect with the breath here as we release the shoulders. On the inhale, again, that chest expanding. On the exhale, releasing. I like to press the back of my head against my upper arm. Breathe deep. Opening the shoulders, opening the chest, and connection to the breath. Gently release. Gomukhasana is a true sense of shoulder mobility. It's a shoulder therapy exercise. Inhale, draw that right arm up. Let's clasp that right elbow with the left hand as we draw the fingertips down the spine. We still want to draw that navel in and the spine long. Rest the back of the head against that upper arm. Breathe deep. Gently release. So the top arm, that was an external rotation. Gomukhasana, the bottom arm, does an internal rotation. The exact opposite. So we're just doing one arm at a time because it feels good. We're warming up. Draw the left thumb towards us as we internally rotate that bottom arm. We're walking the fingertips up the spine as the palm is facing away. Roll the shoulders back. Let's get our drishti, our gaze. Let's gaze straight ahead. And let's connect with the breath as we simply inhale and exhale through the nose. Gently release. Way to take care of yourself, guys. Let's draw the right thumb towards us. Try to walk the fingertips up the spine. And this is where I have awareness. There's so much awareness in yoga. So walk the fingertips up the spine, kind of between the scapula and the palm away. I notice this side's a little bit tighter for me. So I know for us, it's awareness we start to develop in our own practices. I've also heard the sides a little bit tighter is one that you give a little more energy to or stay possibly several more breaths with for your own practice. Breathe deep. Gently release. Great job, guys. Let's clasp the hands behind. The hands come together like a magnet here as we draw the shoulder blades towards the spine. Draw that navel in still. Broaden those collarbones. Let's find our drishti, something to gaze at as we breathe deep. Gently release. Let's draw the hands heart center and just reflect and set our intention for our practice. Our theme is the journey of exploring the bird of paradise. But the journey is so much more important than the destination. This theme has also been inspired for many of my students that have had setbacks and injuries or been great athletes, and yoga has been a challenge for them. It's a way to kind of cross-train sometimes. But the journey teaches us so much. The awareness, the learning is more important than mastering the pose outside of the wall. Here we are with an opportunity, again, to grow in freedom, bliss, spiritual awakening. Take a moment and lower your head to your fingertips. And set your own personal and meaningful intention for your practice. But also recognizing the value of the journey in life, the growth and the learning. And gently look up. Let's do a little wrist therapy. So right now the hands are coming together. I'm going to tuck those toes. The pinkies are almost touching here. And we're going to rock forward and back as we do a little wrist therapy. For many of us, we'll just keep rocking forward and back. And some of us, we're going to come with the feet together in a form of a down dog with a wrist therapy here. The head between those arms, the gaze towards the feet and the shins. Gently lower those knees. Either sit back, however we can, seated in a comfortable position. Extend those arms. Let's do a few wrist circles. We're really warming up those wrists. We're doing those wrist circles out. Now we're going to switch directions because we're going to do some drills that are going to build upon core strength. And these are the drills. Let's do some finger flicks that help us build that core strength, that connection to the body, the arms and the legs. Good. And build upon this pose, because that's what our day is today. It's the journey. The journey to learning the bird of paradise. So we're going to take the blocks. Now I'm going to mirror you guys. So we're going to take the blocks outside the thighs, so we're facing each other here. Brahmacharyasana, known as the L-sit, a core strengthening posture and an arm balance, all about engaging those quads, the hip flexors, and the connection of the core to get that pelvis off of the ground. But when you actually get into the bird of paradise, off of the wall, there's so much core connection that comes into play. We're going to start warming up the left leg, and we're drawing it back and forth over that block, back and forth. Good. Let's do 2 more. So we're isolating those hip flexors. This is a really good drill for core and upper body strength. Coming back to Dandasana, taking that right leg and drawing it back and forth. Good. Strengthening the core. Come back to Dandasana. Good. We're going to take those blocks again, high against that upper thigh, those upper thighs. We're going to connect to the core and work on drawing those hips up and back and the shoulders forward. We'll keep the heels on the ground for now. And for most of us, if you don't practice this drill, it's always going to be a challenge. I encourage you to practice outside of this class. On the exhale, we're pressing down, engaging the core, and drawing those hips back and the shoulders forward. Keeping those heels down. Good. Eventually, we'll be able to do the same thing and maybe get the heels off the ground and meet yourself where you are. On the exhale, press down, engage the core, draw those hips back, shoulders forward. We'll stay here several breaths. Great job. Gently come back out. We'll draw the blocks off to the side here. Good. Let's take the feet about an inch wider than hip width apart. Hindulasana, cradle pose. So we want to open those hips. We're going to keep that left leg straight. And we'll draw that right leg up here. Let's do a little dorsiflexion of the foot. Place the foot inside those elbow and the knee inside the elbow. We'll do a little dynamic expression here into a static Hindulasana. Think about rooting through the sit bones. That left leg is extended straight. And feeling, drawing this right shin towards the chest. Lengthen the spine, but we're opening that outer hip, the outer glutes. Good. Compass pose. We're going to take the right leg, meeting ourselves where we are. We're taking the right shoulder under the right knee, clasping the outer edge of this right foot. And this is where the leg presses against the arm. And we're really opening. This is opening the hips, hamstring, the side of the body, the left side body here, and an element of a twist as maybe we take the gaze towards the sky here. Breathe deep. Compass pose is known to gently release to help release back pain as well. Let's reconnect in Dandasana, root through the sitting bones. Draw length in the spine. Take the feet, about an inch wider than hip width apart. Keep that right leg extended. Draw that left leg towards us. Awaken the arch of that left foot as we place it inside those elbows and the knee inside the elbows. We'll do a little dynamic known as the baby rock. Let's come into a static hold as we root through both sitting bones. Think about drawing the left shin towards the chest here. Feel the release in that outer left hip. Breathe deep. Wedging now the right shoulder under the right knee. Meet yourself where we are as we clasp outer edge of the top foot. And we're trying to kind of press that that left leg here against that left shoulder as we're opening that side body. And then we add the elements. We're opening that right side body of the gaze towards the top arm. Compass pose, Surya Yantrasana. Gently release. Come out of that pose. Let's do a connection to the core one more time. So we take the blocks outside the upper thighs, engage the core, draw those hips back and up, shoulders forward, connect to the core, gently release. We're going to explore kind of a modified little seated bird of paradise. So we're going to take the feet an inch wider than hip width apart. We'll start again with that left leg is as straight, and we'll take that right leg. Here we had the cradle. Let's just reset cradle. Back to kind of that compass where we have the shoulder under the knee, but we're not going to do compass this time. We're rooting through the sitting bones. And imagine then taking that left arm to clasp the right hand. There we go. Here we are, this bird of paradise, but we're seated. And eventually we take that top leg, that right leg of yours, and we straighten it. Good. So this is the version that takes hamstring strength, flexibility. And for some of us, we might be keeping it bent for a while, and we might have to utilize a strap to close the gap, gently release. But this is another variation to explore the bind part on the ground. Let's take the feet about an inch or so wider. The right leg is straight. We take that left leg. We kind of do, again, a little bit of a cradle briefly. We wedge the left shoulder underneath, and we keep that left leg bent here. Root through the sitting bones, spine long. We take that right arm and we kind of catch that left hip, and eventually we clasp those fingers, and then we build upon straightening that left leg. Gently release. So that takes some hamstring flexibility, and keeping it bent might be where we are. Gently come back to Dandasana, root through the sitting bones, draw length in the spine. Now, this isn't easy. Prayer squat malasana is a posture that really opens up the hips and external rotation. I've been watching some mobility specialists, how they get into that pose. So we take the feet wider than hip width apart, heels in, and our knees are going to track over the toes. We might have to use the hands and the knees to help us. We might have to use a block to sit on the block. That's okay. We're going to practice this transition. Maybe engage the core as we lift up those heels a little bit and come into prayer squat. Elbows inside those knees. We might have to sit on a block. Elbows inside the knees. Hands Anjali Mudra, heart-centered. We're opening the hips. We're connecting to our breath. Maybe reflecting back to our intention. Another preparatory posture for bird of paradise. Inhale, root and rise. Come back to Tadasana. What does that look like? Each person is different. Mountain pose. Cleansing breath together. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Love it, guys. Here we are in the journey. So I'm going to mirror you here on this one, on this side, on Bird of Paradise. I'm even going to utilize that wall coming up. I've been practicing this for a while to try to best to teach this. So here we are. We're going to start on the left standing leg. So I'm mirroring you, left standing leg. And it's straight ahead. Now this right leg is opening. And we're coming into the journey. So I've got the ball of the foot against the wall. It almost reminds me of a little bit of like a, kind of an example of like extended angle on a wall a little bit. So here we have the right arm underneath here. The left arm is up. Bird of Paradise, phase 1 might be here. Phase 2 is we might take that top arm and we kind of catch that right hip. And eventually we thread that right arm underneath. We're going to keep the left leg bent here. We're just exploring Svarga Dvijasana, the bind, the stability and strength of that standing leg, the opening of the hip. Meet yourself where we are. Feel that expansion of the chest and the shoulders, the hip opening, the whole body involved. We'll stay here several breaths. Pada Bandha in that left foot. Let's awaken those arches. Engage the muscles of the pelvic hip girdle or the quadricep there of that standing leg. Gently come out. Hands to the hips, maybe use the wall as we come back to Tadasana. We did it. Cleansing breath. Inhale. Exhale. Again, this is a more accessible way of the bird of paradise, but yet it's really cool, okay? It's really neat. I'm moving my blocks. I'm going to continue to mirror you here. I'm like a soft arm distance away from the wall. This time, the right leg is straight, Pada Bandha, and kind of draw that femur head in. We're taking that left leg, and I like to kind of come up to the ball of the foot there, and it's slightly bent. We take that left arm, it comes across kind of the thigh here, and the right arm up as I mirror you here. Open the chest, good. Take that top right arm and catch that left hip. Eventually, we thread that bottom arm into an internal rotation. We clasp those fingers. Good. Here we are, a modified, accessible way of bird of paradise. Standing leg stable and strong. Expand across the heart, the chest, the shoulders. The hip is opening. Beautiful. And we're touching upon balance. Balance, strength, and stability. Find your drishti, something to gaze straight ahead. Gently release. Hands heart-centered. We're going to come to the back edge of our mat here in Tadasana. But something I want to share with you guys. This wall makes it accessible, helps us challenge our balance. When we improve our balance, and it can help us calm the mind and reduce anxiety. Here we are at the back edge of our mat. I'm going to go up a little bit more room, so I don't want to hit the wall. I'm going to go up a little bit more. Now, we're going to warm up to explore revolved of bird of paradise. I didn't even know this was a posture for years. It is so challenging, yet so rewarding with the bind and the twist, but the wall is going to really make it accessible. Here we are, Tadasana. I like the feet about maybe a little bit wider on this one, the back edge of the mat. Awaken those arches. Inhale, draw those arms up. On the exhale, I'm gently bending the knees, swan dive down. We're going to walk it out into downward facing dog. Push that floor away. Draw length in the spine. Recenter ourselves. Staying in down dog, but I'm going to draw the feet together for the low lunge transition, gently lowering the heels towards the ground. Inhale, drawing that left leg up to about hip height, toes pointed down. On the exhale, draw the left knee to the chest and the nose. Place the left foot next to the left hand. Lower the right knee to the ground. Inhale, beautiful, Anjaneyasana. Gently lower the hands to those hips. Frame the foot. Draw the back knee under the hip. Tuck the back toes. This took me 6 months to get this bind. 6 months of practicing. So some of you might get it faster than I did. Draw that left hand on the hip, draw that right arm up, but I learned through the journey. Inhale, draw length. Exhale, elbow and shoulder across the knee. Prayer twist, part of the journey, phase 1. Phase 2, elbow and shoulder come across the knee. We have the arms stacked on top of one another. Phase 3, you take the left hand and we catch that right hip. The bottom right arm comes underneath. Here we have the bind. Let's take the gaze up. We have a bind. We're opening the chest, the shoulders, the heart, and we're adding that element of the twist for the mid-thoracic. This is phase 1 to try to get bird of paradise. Let's come back to prayer twist. Straightening that back leg, come to the pinky toe side of the back foot. So they come to the pinky toe side because I like you to feel that right hip rotating inward. Gaze is off at the side. Left hand on the hip, high crescent lunge to transition. Back leg straight and engaged, back heel lifted. Good, sink a little bit lower. Let's keep the hands about shoulder width apart. Release that back hip, build strength. Palms together, gaze up. Exhale, hands to those hips, frame the foot. Downward facing dog. Let's add a vinyasa here. Transition into Phalakasana. Inhale, plank. Modify if you want to lower the knees. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Shoulders in line with those elbows. Inhale, upward facing dog, arm balance and a back bend, gaze up. Exhale, come over the tops of the feet, down dog. Push that floor away. Let's explore this revolve bind. Let's get the feet together for low lunge, for down dog. Prepare for low lunge. Inhale, draw that right leg up. Exhale, draw the right knee, the chest, and the nose, round that upper back. Place the right foot next to the right hand. Inhale, beautiful Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Release the back hip, lengthen the spine. Draw the hands to the hips, frame the foot. Back knee under the hip, tuck the back toes. Draw that navel in, good. I like to kind of draw that right knee towards my midline just a little bit to help me get this mid-thoracic twist. Inhale, draw length, left arm up. Draw that navel in. Exhale, elbow and shoulder come across the knee. Phase 1, prayer twist. Phase 2, gently lower the left arm and right arm up. Phase 3, right hand catches the left hip. Left arm comes underneath. Breathe deep as we revolve that bind. Beautiful. It took me a long time to learn. Come back to prayer twist. If we can, straighten that back leg. Come to the pinky toe side of the back foot. Good. Hands in prayer by the heart. Come to the pinky toe side to feel that back hip rotating inward. Transition to high lunge, right hand on the hip. Inhale, draw that left arm up. Here we go. Sink lower. Let's keep the hands shoulder width apart. Back leg straight and engaged, heel lifted. Maybe draw those palms together, gaze up. Exhale, we're gonna hands to those hips. We're adding a vinyasa here. Transition to high plank. Dome that upper back. Bend those elbows, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, come over the tops of the feet, downward facing dog. Push that floor away. Draw length in the spine. Let's take the hands and walk them backwards to Uttanasana. Gently bend those knees. Swan dive up. Exhale, hands heart-centered. Okay. Revolved bird of paradise. Get my mat a little bit closer here. Now, I didn't even know this was a pose for years. And it's very challenging off the wall. We're just going to explore it off the wall and have fun. Meet ourselves where we are. One of my students told me the other day, oh man, he was so happy for the journey of this pose. And he knew he knew it'd always be a challenge to learn this pose, but he's excited about the drills. So we're about a soft arm distance away. We're going to start with the left leg as our standing leg. And we're drawing that right leg up, ball of the foot onto the wall here. Left leg is pointed straight ahead. Good. Great job, guys. So got the left foot standing, right leg up here. So we have the right hand on the hip, and we're going to start with kind of this little prayer twist here. Phase 1. Draw that navel in. Good. Phase 2 is we take the right hand, catch that left hip. Trying to build upon stability of that standing leg. Eventually, that left arm threads under that right thigh there. We catch those hands, we revolve, and eventually even the gaze over that right shoulder. So we have a revolve bind, a revolve twist. Gently come back, maybe that prayer twist. Hands to those hips. To the wall even to help us come back out. Cleansing breath. Inhale. Exhale. So you can see this was a challenge. This side will be nice if you won't even look at the back view of it. But you have to meet yourself where you are, and the phases of this work fine. Just the elbow across the knee, phase 1, right? Soft arm distance. Root with that right foot into the wall, Pada Bandha, awaken the arch. Draw that left foot up. It's about, I like come to the ball of the foot there. Maybe even think about drawing that knee towards the midline just a bit. Good. Left hand on the hip. Draw that navel in. And eventually the right elbow and shoulder across the knee. This prayer twist. Draw that navel in for that prayer twist. Phase 1. Phase 2 is, well, maybe I'm going to catch that right hip here. Phase 3 is thread that left arm underneath. Stability and strength of that standing leg. And then even the gaze towards over that left shoulder. Come out of this pose, maybe just the elbow and shoulder across the knee. Maybe a prayer twist. Hands to the hips or the wall. Something to practice, right? The revolved bird of paradise against the wall. Awesome job, guys. So we've done a little bit of everything today. Let's come to the center of the mat and kind of recenter ourselves. Let's do an upward salute. Urdhva Hastasana. Awaken those arches, gently spread those toes. Draw that navel in. Inhale, draw the arms up. Draw length in the sides of the body here. Lift the lower ribs away from the pelvis. Gently draw that tailbone under just slightly. Active palms, gaze up. We'll stay here several breaths. Inhale, feel the chest expanding. Exhale, the prana coming back down the spine. Hands to the heart. We've done a little bit of everything. We have our wall here. Let's do 3 little drop backs on the wall, just to push against the wall to leverage and open the chest and the heart. Keep that spine long and pliable. Meet yourself where you are. I generally come about a soft arm distance. If you're a little nervous, you can get closer to the wall. I'm going to take the feet about mat width apart. I'm going to rotate the big toes in slightly. Draw that navel in for lumbar support, that tailbone down. Inhale, draw those arms up. The gaze is up. On the exhale, allow that gaze to follow you as you lower the head with the support of the neck and push against the wall to open the chest, open the heart. And gently come back up. Beautiful. Hands, heart center. I got little Chosen here who's joining us. Let's adjust ourselves a little bit if you need to, if you want to get a little closer or farther away. Rotate the big toes in slightly, draw that navel in, tailbone under. Draw those arms up, gaze up. Allow the gaze to follow you as we gently lead with the upper and then a middle back and push against the wall. It's all about opening the chest and the heart. You might walk those hands lower. Gently come back up, neck and head last. Hands to the heart. I'm going to walk forward a little bit. So standing drop backs, meet yourself where we are. The wall is there to leverage, and we want to feel the back bend in the upper chest and the heart. Rotate the big toes in slightly. Gaze up. Gently lower the head with the support of the neck and walk those hands down. Keep those hips pressing forward. Gently walk those hands back up, neck and head last. Hands to the heart. Neutralize the spine in Urdhva Hastasana again. Great job, guys. Draw that tailbone under, draw that navel in. Sometimes I like to just take my hands and feel what it feels like to draw length and lift the lower ribs away from the pelvis. Inhale, draw those arms up. Draw that navel in, tailbone under just slightly. Gaze up. Freedom, bliss, spiritual awakening, the journey of learning and growing, body awareness. Gently draw the hands heart-centered. Cleansing breath together. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. So really different practice today, but so much of learning and body intelligence, body and mind awareness, and the value in the journey. We're gonna, one of our last poses is a Uttanasana on the wall. We'll take the feet about an inch wider than hip width apart, maybe a soft arm distance. We might have to go closer. The wall is there to provide support as we come into a forward fold and kind of neutralize the spine after those drop backs. We're going to gently bend the knees. We're going to enter it to the left here, and we're going to come out on the right. But the wall is there for support. I'm going to get a little closer to the wall and rest my spine, the back of the head against the wall, and feel that release in the vulnerable back side of the body, Uttanasana, along the wall. I'm going to inhale and exhale through the nose to calm the mind. Gently come out to the right here. Gently bend those knees. Come back up to the right. Recenter yourself. We did a lot of drills. There's a lot of learning today. We're going to finish with Vipariti along the wall. So we're going to get maybe the mats a little bit closer. Vipariti Karani along the wall. We're going to enter it from the side here. So we come to the side and we're swinging those legs up the best that we can. Trying to get the sit bones closer to the wall, but if that's a challenge, meet yourself where you are. The legs are together and active. We're allowing the arms to be long and away, palms up. The spine is grounded, the chin a bit tucked. And we're just allowing the prana, the breath, to kind of regenerate, the blood to recirculate. So many benefits of Vipariti Karani as we soak in the fruits of our labor. With effort comes rest. I'm going to have you guys stay here as long as you need. I suggest 5 minutes. Reflecting back on your intention, the journey of freedom, bliss, spiritual awakening, the learning of the postures, the balance, the strength, coming all together to help you shine your light, which is truly the message of Namaste. I encourage you to stay here 5 minutes.